music started on the stream.
Greetings everyone, I'm of course Director of Arketer Labs. Oh. Well, relevant other people heard what I was... Greetings! Everything's fine, as per usual. I'm Director of Arketer Labs, joined unusually this time by Havenhand. Greetings.
Hello.
Also here is Orla Seraph.
Hi.
Greetings, Nerdy Run, K-Show, Whitechapel, and Green Badger Outdoors. Glad you can make it to the open mic article beta. And greetings now to Sixer's Tales. We've got a huge selection of articles to go through, but most importantly, we're giving away a game today. I hope everyone takes note of this. If you have a Steam account, you could be in the running. We'll be giving away a Steam copy of Dead by Daylight. I might have entered myself, especially if there are very few owners, because the person donating the games basically said I could keep them, and I'm just determined that they should be an effort to give them away. That seems like the general intent of such things. But I might want Dead by Daylight. Not really sure. And notably, Sixers Tales, while I don't mind you promoting, please do wait till the end of the show. I would prefer if people weren't, directed away from something ongoing. I'll be sure to note when it's a good time to promote things. It's only now. You don't have to wait that long. Just check back another 15 minutes if you do it again, I suppose. But please not directly at the beginning. It feels a bit rude, personally. I will be playing a trailer, the launch trailer for Dead by Daylight, so everyone knows what they could potentially be entering into. Those who wish to win the game, just you let me know, and then I need to set them a slot. And we're going to just roll RNG numbers between 1 and 100. Highest number wins. Straightforward, like old school MMOs, when people are deciding who gets the fat loot that dropped from generic warrior 347. But it's really rare, like a fishbone earring. Any case, greetings, Nightwolf. Glad you could make it. Old Man Anfield, good to see you. Likewise, Hotch Norris. I suppose I could go ahead and launch the trailer for Dead by Daylight. We'll be wrapping this off towards the end of the stream. It doesn't mean I probably should have seen how long this launch trailer is.
Just left her behind. Or him behind.
Yep.
Oh my god.
She's not very good at hide and seek. You gotta keep your rolling down. It's a dead giveaway otherwise. In any case, Dead by Daylight will be raffled off via Stream Key. I will just need to know, well, you'll want to know if you have access to Steam, and I'll need to get the key to you via DM, by hook or by crook.
Who's ready to hatch some...
No. Okay, so, Dead by Daylight later on. I guess in the meantime, the stream as per usual. First off, man chopped off his own penis with scissors after using cannabis. This is good.
That sounds like a fun party. Not one I'd like to be at, but one I'd like to hear about afterwards.
Reefer madness, reefer madness. Yeah, we're about to get into this one because it just seems very implausible that the cannabis was a relevant factor in this, really. Oh, as for the game, once again, it's an asymmetrical multiplayer game where one person's a killer and everyone else is largely killed. Moving on. Medics say the penis was too damaged to save. Aw. Man cut off his own penis as he suffered a psychotic episode after smoking cannabis, a new medical case study reveals. The individual, 23, from Thailand, had used cannabis for 2 years before quitting his habit. 3 months later, he smoked 2 bongs of cannabis and experienced an erection 2 hours later without sexual stimulation. He reported feeling a severe, persistent, sharp pain in his penis and said his glands looked distorted. Believing he'd stop the pain, he decided to trim the penile skin several times using scissors, but then completely amputated his penis. 2 hours after, the bleeding had not stopped and the man went to the hospital. Doctors believe the penis was too damaged to save, and all the dead skin and flesh was removed. The amputated part was contaminated with ants, while the stump was 2 centimeters in length. I am really doubting this could be laid at the feet of cannabis.
I mean, it kind of sounds like he had a bad trip, but that's not something that you could do on cannabis alone unless it's laced with other drugs.
Yeah, I'm thinking...
But since he lives in Thailand, at least he lives in Thailand, land of the ladyboys. So it's not difficult for him to get a new life after this.
I don't know if I should endorse that or not. Suffice to say, you make a good point about this not being the end of their love life. I think really, if this was Thailand and he probably didn't want to be, I don't know, maybe executed by overzealous authorities, they would have looked into the precise source of this so-called cannabis and found out what the hell was actually in it, because I don't believe, I'm not a big pothead, I've actually never tried it, but I don't believe for a second Pop did this. You knew. No.
I just know that it's illegal in my country, so I'm not going to say anything.
Reefer madness, reefer madness. In any case, yeah, that's thing. And other misunderstandings of medicine. Apparently a bald man was decapitated because killers thought there was gold in his head. This also came from metro.co.uk. It is believed that unnamed man's killers tried to sell his head to buyers in Mali. A man in Mozambique lost his head because of a superstitious belief that bald men have gold inside their skulls, has been claimed. An investigation has been launched into the disturbing crime after a man was killed by criminals who planned to sell his head in Mali. But the would-be buyer vanished before any transactions could take place. The murderers reportedly dumped their head in Mali's central town of Mondiwa. The case is far from the first of its kind. In fact, is possibly the resurgence of a trend where people kill for the gold they believe is kept inside a bald person's head.
What?
Maybe someone is spreading that rumor so that these people will off someone they don't like.
The BBC reported on the ritual attacks growing in prominence in 2017. After at least 5 men were for the body parts of the 5 that authorities knew about, 3 were killed in 1 week alone. So, okay, this sounds like a crime that at the very least needs to be confronted by vaguely competent teachers explaining basic biology, and otherwise generally dispensing with the idea that for some reason gold is in bald men's heads. I'm sorry, to think that there's a hatch on them. That bald men have space in their skulls.
You wouldn't be able to see that because they have no hair, so you can see if there's a hatch on it.
Yeah, you would think that if anyone was secretly hiding gold in their heads, you could rest assured it's not the bald guys. I mean...
Maybe it's because, like, proper bald heads are really shiny. I think that's why they think so.
Well, if you're bald and you go to Mozambique, make sure that you put a nice matte finish on your head, just in case.
I didn't think that humans had that kind of magpie behavior going, "Ooh, look, shiny!"
Well, apparently,
have that.
There are some people like that. It is believed people go ahead with the violence because witch doctors convince them about the gold superstition whilst actually intending to use the heads for their own purposes. Okay, I see another problem here. Because people are listening to witch doctors. Mozambican commander Afonso Diaz said at the time, the killer's motive comes from superstition culture. The local community thinks bald individuals are rich. Just don't... Is this just because they're rich bald guys? I mean, we know Bezos is a cue ball. So do they think that Bezos is part of some international conspiracy of baldies and that he's, sending them gold to stuff in their skulls when no one's looking?
Perhaps.
One 2017 victim also had his organs removed. The organs were used in rituals to enrich clients in Tanzania and Malawi, regional spokesperson Miguel Catano said after speaking to suspects. Yeah. So, whatever's going on in the world, just remember, we don't live in this. I don't. I expect no one here does. Isn't that great? And I wouldn't be surprised if Richard Benson was wearing a wig, but I have no reason to hypothesize. Killing people's organs has only been a problem, but vascular was those with albinism more specifically targeted. This I was aware of, but... Okay, yeah. I've seen pitches to restart science because there are people stupid enough to think that these witch doctors have powers. I remember that they tried to suggest that there were actual wandering electromancer bush wizards who could call lightning down. Things like that and this have me thinking we definitely need to make sure at no point science is reset. And greetings, Alan Smith. Glad you could join us.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm a bit late.
It's fine. Some people have missed this entirely. I'm going to forgive them, though. I understand they have other things come up in their lives. They're the important things that are just
And
more
the
important.
important chat.
It's fine. Greetings to anyone else who I might have missed sneaking in when I wasn't looking. No, you didn't? Directly, you know. I presume I might have. But if you slipped in, well, consider yourself addressed. And let's move on with, I don't know, let's see. A woman gives up child sues sperm donor she made online for lying about education, ethnicity. That could be a fun one. We had an article not too long ago, in fact just last Saturday, about a man who was basically selling his services as a sperm donor and was wildly successful with a potential future legacy that might rival Khan. We'll see. But we have a stupider case here, and I suppose we're only lucky that with the UK sperm donor guy is lucky he didn't take this particular job. A Japanese woman gave up her baby after finding out the sperm donor she had used lied about his marital status, ethnicity, and educational background, and she is now suing the donor. First for the country, the woman who's only identified as 30-year-old woman from Tokyo said she and her husband wanted to try for a second child, but began looking for a sperm donor through a membership exchange site after they discovered he had a hereditary condition. The woman found a sperm donor in his 20s on social media who claimed to graduate from the top universities of Japan and that he was Japanese. He also told the woman he was single. The woman and donor reportedly had sex 10 times in order to get pregnant, and in June 2019 the two were successful, Tokyo Shimbun reported. But she later found out the donor was actually a Chinese national who was indeed married and did not graduate from Kyoto University as he claimed.
Oh, the horror.
I know, right?
She slept with him 10 times, so basically we've just learned that not even...
We are having technical difficulties.
I saw.
Just like always.
Was it because you were trying to join all the way from...
No, I just clicked on the link. So this is not my fault. Not my fault.
Greetings, the Thorn Midnight. Glad you could make it in this peculiar technical difficulties. Yeah. We were just discussing a sperm donor recipient who apparently got duped into sexy fun times 10 times in a row by a Chinese national who lied about being Japanese and well-educated and single.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot. That sucks.
No, she
Oh.
wanted him to be married. I
Could
think.
be worse.
Did she?
It could
Nope.
be worse. You could have gotten catfished by that one German chick that's been killing people.
Oh,
Oh yeah, I saw that.
She's got her freaking photo on there is like she's got a pentagram on her hand and she's holding it up, and I'm looking at that. I'm like, some dudes would see this picture and be like, yeah, no, I'd still hit that.
Yeah, the Night Stalker had the same thing.
I can fix her.
No, you can't. You're going to get stopped.
You got some of the
Yeah.
comments on there. Go.
She should
go,
chop your body up and bury you in the woods.
Nice to see a woman in a male-dominated field.
Yeah, a female serial killer. That's a rarity.
Yeah.
Quite
Pulls
unusual.
out her, pulls off her dress and pulls out a large kitchen knife.
I mean, we do have lingerie for women who think they can fix all of the dudes. Maybe we should get some lingerie for the dudes who think they can fix all of the chicks.
I mean, there was plenty of those comments there too. I think we're back on properly.
Oh yes, we've been back on property for a little while. No.
Sorry, I derailed it.
No, you're
No.
fine.
What makes you think there are rails? Strictly speaking, I'm the person. Okay, it's held together with duct tape, but these days there's no duct tape you can see.
Fixing. There we go. Yeah. Wonder if she's part of the Eileen Warnos fan club. Okay, I'm done now.
I don't know. We don't have that article loaded. We have a lot of other articles loaded, but not that one. I guess it was perhaps taken as a bit too grim. But that doesn't quite make sense because we've just got through another one where a guy basically sliced his own dick off at great length, supposedly high on pot, but no one's buying that shit.
Because most of the articles that come on here are at least somewhat humorous, even if that's in a dark way.
That's not how weed works.
No, it's not. And I for the record, I called bullshit on that one, and I stand by it.
Pot, artificial pot, was it bath salts? It was
They
bath
said it was authentic cannabis, but I don't believe them. And I suppose it's only unfortunate, as another individual noted, that they're in Thailand, so this doesn't necessarily mean an end to their sex life.
Yeah, I mean, you still got a mouth and hands. Nobody bit your fingers off, so like, it's not the end of the world.
Right. But later she found out that the donor was actually a Chinese national who was indeed married and did not graduate from Kyoto University as he claimed. By the time she learned this information, it was too late to receive an abortion, and she gave birth to the baby. Japanese media reported the baby is now in the care of a child care facility in Tokyo. Now the woman is suing the donor for roughly $2.8 million for emotional distress. She claimed the donor gave her inaccurate information for the sake of having sex with her.
I mean, they had sex 10 times.
Don't fuck with people's children, even if they haven't been born yet.
Just, I'm wondering. See,
I mean,
because
if he lied about those things, what about his medical history? Was there anything that she was trying to avoid?
there is a bot
in complications.
chat.
That
Someone
is actually like, even if there's two parents that are actually totally capable of having kids together, sometimes they'll get genetic testing and be like, yeah, we have a recessive gene that we want to avoid, so we're just going to do the surrogate thing. Like, that can happen.
See, I'm skeptical that they lied about that. And furthermore, I think they were a bit rather ruthless to just toss the baby because of this. Because at the very least we know the kid's father's clever. I mean, that could be quite the edge.
It's not the kid's fault.
Oh no, it's not the kid's fault at all.
Yeah.
But I also think this is going to be a bit of a joke because she doesn't keep the kid. He's not going to be putting child support towards her for the kid because she ditched the kid. And she's suing for $2.8 million for emotional distress. I don't think anyone who lied about being Japanese to pork 10 times has a chance of having $2.8 million to be fined.
No.
If he'd been like a donor with like, when it was like a proper medical procedure, maybe she had a case. But no, you just paid a dude to sleep with you.
Yep, apparently not verifying anything about them and unable to tell so much as what ethnicity they actually were, because I'm pretty sure this guy didn't do anything terribly dramatic to change his DNA from Chinese to temporarily Japanese.
Dad is kind of clever because he managed to get laid. Mom, however, is so stupid she doesn't know how to run a background check.
Nope, and elitist beyond any potential sympathy.
No sympathy for anyone. Nobody. Everybody sucks except for the kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Due to right-to-know laws in Japan, children donors are legally able to identify the donor. This has left many donors seeking other methods of donation in order to remain anonymous, and has in turn made it more difficult for individuals or couples to find potential donors. The relatively unregulated market makes it quite easy for people to seek donors on various social media platforms. This method of sperm donation is a growing trend in Japan. It is estimated that more than 10,000 children have been born from the sperm of an involved third party. Which, strictly speaking, if they make the legal methods impossibly expensive and bureaucratic to where they can't achieve it otherwise, that might be just fine. But I refer again to the UK successful independent sperm donor, who just does it for the satisfaction of helping couples, supposedly. That dude, he doesn't go around porking women. They made it very clear that he's basically in the habit of showing up with a turkey baster and a naughty mag. I'm thinking when they elaborately argue for the entire process, that should be a major red flag. Well, there are a lot of things that should be red flags, but this is the least sympathetic case, really. I think I've ever heard of. I just feel bad for the kid.
Same.
I feel Godspeed.
Yeah.
Well, on the bright side, at least the kid's away from two parents that clearly don't fucking care about them.
Yeah. They just wanted to do it, and that was it.
Some would call this. I'm not saying
Before
and
we
sour
start on the
cookies.
next one, when you were telling Thorn about the earlier article, I remember a really good tip I got once that you are not supposed to follow. Don't buy drugs, kids. Become a famous rock star and they'll give it to you for free.
Yeah.
That's pretty solid actually.
I have a question. I have a
It's-
question to bounce off of that. So when you go through like Dare in the United States, they always tell you that there's going to be somebody that's going to tempt you with free drugs. I have yet to find this person. Where the hell are they? I want to talk to them. I've never been offered free drugs. Maybe weed, but like I've never been offered free drugs in my damn life. And weed only because it's legal in Chicago now. I want free drugs.
I've completely missed out on all that myself, but that's only sensible because I didn't meet people. Which greatly helped my odds for avoiding all such nefarious temptations. Also, I was a bit gullible as a kid, so I bought most of the Dare spiel at the time. For an example of people doing things right, as you may know, Canada is seeing a major protest involving truckers pushing back against mandates. All the mandates, really, mask mandates, vaccine mandates, so on and so forth. And while I think a lot of Canadians will appreciate this, some Canadians are really, really angry that people are trying to keep them free. And others are obeying the law because, well, they're spineless. And then we have this one who's being publicly shamed by The Takeout. Canadian restaurant ordered to close for requiring dog pictures instead of vaccine cards. Every restaurant should sooner be expected to demand dog pictures than vaccine cards. No restaurant has any right to know what shots you've taken. It's not a thing they should ever be mandated to do or have a right to ask about.
Yeah.
But bootlicking idiot Dennis Lee of The Takeout is very upset about this company. Let's fire this one under news I can't believe I'm writing about today because it's definitely something. Many restaurants not complying with mandate mandates by now, but in case the Canadian restaurant The Granary in Red Deer, Alberta, the non-compliance took a bit of a strange twist. Instead of asking for vaccination cards at the door, the staff asked for dog pictures instead to gain entry. CTV News in Edmonton reports, because apparently this is news worth covering to them, that Alberta... What?
He's a narc. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
you did a bad thing. I'm going to tell the government.
This
My feelings.
dog pictures. I mean, how bad of them? CTV News in Edmonton reports that Alberta Health Services received notices that in multiple instances guests were doing this to dine in. AHS sent test shoppers to investigate, which would actually be actual narcs in context. They're running an entrapment scam just to see, and they found that on 2 different occasions they were allowed entry after showing dog pictures and identification cards. AHS wrote an order to the establishment which stated in both instances facility staff used the tablet to make it appear as if they were scanning QR code when in fact the staff member was presented with a photograph of a dog. The staff member then proceeded to ask the test shopper for personal identification and offer dine-in services. I'm sorry. I will sooner provide dog photos. And I'm not sorry. I probably wouldn't even provide dog photos, but then I don't need that much either. But just
What's
what
really
a
funny is
fucking
that-
toady! Carry on.
No, yeah, narc. He's a narc.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking fascist. What's funny is here in Chicago, there was like a pilot program at the start of fucking COVID as to where like restaurants that didn't normally have a patio could get a patio so that you could socially distance outside. And there's a bunch of restaurants now. They're just like, okay, so we're gonna need you to break down your patio, and the restaurants are like, we doubled our seat space. We're not giving this up. No, fuck you. If it was fine for 2 years, it's gonna be fine for the next 2. You open this can of worms, and we're not giving it up.
Wait, people want them to shut down their patios?
yeah, now they want them to shut down the patio that they've had for 2 years. Like, some of these restaurants are like really tiny family-owned businesses. They're just like, we've helped more people now than we have ever before. Like, not only did this save us, it doubled our business. We're not giving it up.
But why would they hate the patio and not the inside of the restaurant?
Oh no, well they
weird.
need the parking spaces, because clearly that's more important than people keeping their business open. Take the train.
I personally find it really hard to believe they give a shit about the well-being of the businesses or the free availability of parking. I think they're basically trying to shut down any company not being run by a major global behemoth.
Deadass. Like, almost all the like old bars that I used to hang out with that were family owned are fucking gone. And that was before COVID. This was just the final nail in the coffin for a lot of them. They were fucking barely keeping the doors open before that, and the other ones are just like, yeah, no, we're not giving this up.
Looks like we're heading towards a cyberpunk dystopia, where corporations run everything.
Heading that direction, I think we're pretty much there.
Yeah, we might actually be there. There's a couple economists that actually theorize that capitalism actually might be dead, because like before, like in one of the good things about capitalism, love or hate it, is that it generally the well-being and wealth of the people matches the well-being and health of the corporations. And in the last 2 years, that didn't happen, and that's never happened before. Ours went down, and theirs went up. So they're calling it decapitated capitalism.
That sounds like a good way. It's definitely a very corrupted, bastardized version, at the very least. And I personally am a huge fan of capitalism because I think that's actually just sensible. You have... People are not all that good and selfless. So having systems that encourage them to compete against each other in a way that basically pits greed against greed to result in a net positive result is best. And furthermore, if you're concerned about workers keeping the sweat of their brow, it's the best system for enabling that than the others we've ever really seen. I mean, it's kind of time tested on that point.
At least you can advance.
It's also
or at least used to be able to. And yes, meritocracy is really the way to go, but I don't know if I'm going to see that again anytime soon. Let's see, we have a false article. This one's not real, but it's just fun. God gave me an anointed vagina, sleep with me, and get healed. I was thinking we might just read this one and treat it like a non-official SCP, because it basically is.
Okay.
Alternatively, I will inflict BBC Pigeon on you all.
Oh no, not the pigeon.
So, chat, guests, please do tell me what you'd prefer. I think it's... I assume, Alan Smith, you're voting against pigeon.
Of course I am. I can't understand what it's bloody saying.
I'll promise to read it extra slow, articulate every word.
I like it.
I want to help. Well, the chat hasn't quite weighed in yet. The only person to do so is Nerdy Brennan, who said they prefer suffering, and that would basically be a vote for pigeon. So, first off, they don't update their privacy and cookies policy. And I'm going to let them know that I say I agree to cookies. Amidol, Tanzanian singer, open up on why she did chop cockroach.
What now?
Tanzanian singer open up on why she did chop cockroach.
Oh, she chopped a cockroach? What?
Yes, the story of popular Tanzanian singer and model Salmu Hamisi. Way like to chop nutritious cockroaches didn't go viral last month.
She ate one.
Okay, yeah, I see that now.
Guessing from the picture, she ate a cockroach.
I mean, eating crickets, I can understand. You know, there's nothing really wrong with it. It's kind of traditional in some countries, but a cockroach?
I've had crickets.
I can't think of any country that eats like a cockroach, like a palmetto bug cockroach, Because I don't think those are edible. There might be a variety of cockroaches edible, but I don't think it's those.
I think they eat cockroaches and so many other insects in Indonesia. At least I've heard about that. I know they eat crickets in Thailand. Because they sold them there, and I had some, and they were terrible. Because they were too crunchy.
They eat this kind of like pupae in Japan, but it's considered like really old-fashioned food.
See, I'm actually I like trying meats. I've had kangaroo and crocodile. I enjoyed it both occasions. I wouldn't eat it regularly, mostly because it's completely unaffordable. But I take some pride in saying I've eaten an absolute minimum of bugs, save what tends to wind up in Indian cuisine. And if you don't know where the bugs are in Indian cuisine, well, then you probably don't want me telling you if you're a fan otherwise. So, moving on, Samu Hamisi, better known as Ami Doll, na 20-year-old girl from Tanzania, where they live for the coastal region of Kigamboni, Dar es Salaam. She tell BBC Swahili, say the instincts they taste like fish or white meat, and say she they add coconut oil to roast kebab or fry them. First off, like fish or white meat, X to doubt. Not a chance. Nope, don't buy it.
If it has an exoskeleton, it will have a relation to shellfish, and you shouldn't eat them because of it.
I was gonna say, I'm sure if they tasted like anything, it'd be like crayfish or something.
Greetings, Brian Yoder, Eric Pug, and Assassin Grain. I appreciate the promotion. And yes, no, look, we don't need to eat cockroaches, and I strenuously object to any effort to make us eat cockroaches in advance before society has collapsed. Because if you start eating the roaches now, and then society collapses and you can't eat anything else, even if you wanted to, well, you just wasted time you could have been spending eating better food. I mean, everything goes to shit, we get set back, major nuclear war or something, then we might have to eat roaches in novel ways, in which case we might want to pay attention to the coconut oil to roast kebab or fry them, because we probably want to make them taste a lot better than they're going to naturally.
Or you can learn hydroponics and just be a vegetarian at that point.
That would be preferable, personally. I would sooner
I
go
would
vegan.
rather die.
I think you'd rather become a cannibal then.
Well, yeah, that might be an option. I don't think it's really sustainable, but
It's not.
serious state craving here and there. Cockroach business, dawn over my life. Link article when I can mess with. Bread weighed and garnished with cockroach, dawn land dining table. Ami Dalton, a singer, not an entrepreneur, way do business for raising and selling cockroach. Sake of my young age, when pippos see me, day chop cockroach, dem day wonder, and even question my mental health. Ami talk for interview with BBC Swahili. I day chop cockroach, now very important food for me, because cockroach day sweet. Some people say, I know day sane, but for me, I take ham as business, and so everything day okay for me.
I'd like to point out the fact that, considering they're actually covering this on the news, this is apparently not normal in Dar es Salaam either. They think she's weird.
Yeah.
This is to the credit, but BBC Pigeon wants to help them make their pitch. That's them apparently? Looking like Budget 69's X.
She reminds
Okay.
me of some of those scene kids from like late 90s, early 2000s.
I actually like her hair. I think it's
I
cool.
Oh, damn it, Assassin.
See,
Look what Assassin of the Great has posted.
I would prefer to
terrified
prevent
of
classification, that way I can still enjoy the chicken sandwich. Yes, Assassin the Great, I fully agree. I would rather that, yeah, I'm not reading what you said after that. I would rather civilization's collapse be avoided, personally. I'm just no longer sure it can be. Fingers crossed, though. Some things are improving. Maybe the trend will hold. And meanwhile, someone's going to go to this effort with their hair. I'm thinking you might as well just clip them on. They don't look like they're anything other than clipped on anyway. In any case. Sorry, back to the wisdom of Amidol. As I be cockroach entrepreneur, I realize, say, I must chop am to convince my customers, say, dis na food like any other food, so I also eat to encourage another to eat cockroach and for them to see am as just another food. Amidol talk am.
Alright, on a serious note, though, if they're super, super plentiful, she has a, like, uphill battle, but, like, it's not the worst cheap food. Like, if you're trying to feed a fucking ton of people, and they're willing to eat it...
Look, if society has collapsed to the point where it's this or starve, again, you might need to,
Does it taste good with ranch?
expand your tossers. I don't believe this for a second, but I suppose it does beat starving in most cases. I suppose, for more pro tips for surviving the apocalypse, we can listen to some of the suggestions here. Amidol say she cooked a cockroach with coconut oil sometimes when she won chop em, but you fit chop am with porridge, rice, or even roasted bananas. Although if you have any of those things, why are you eating roaches?
Yeah.
Dem day like any other food, cockroach not just like any other vegetables, way dem day using normally. For me, I see the insect like fried fish or fried meat, she explain am.
Why the fuck aren't you just using the vegetables then?
Why is the article written like this?
Because this is bbc.com/pigeon. Well, I don't know what they're thinking, but it still exists, and it's personally fascinating.
Do they realize that people that speak pidgin English can still just read in normal English?
You would think they could understand that,
It's
but
the
apparently
BBC.
not.
Yeah.
Fucking
Uh,
racist!
The
It's the
BBC,
BBC.
fun
Yeah.
fact, there's a very real chance that she didn't say any of that, because they pigeonize the quotes from people who are not speaking pidgin. I've read countless pigeonized quotes from Donald J. Trump, and those have been hilarious too. And
That's not at all fucking insulting. What the shit?
it's extraordinary.
It's what happens when a giant company like the British Broadcasting conglomeration decide that they want to be woke.
Yeah.
And they can afford all of the backlash that comes at them because they're basically the national news channel of Britain.
Yeah, or
So-
like to think that they are the only one. There's actually multiple channels here.
They love to think that they're the only one, and
Yeah.
people love to forget all the other ones.
There's also
But they-
more than one type of pidgin English.
Yeah.
At the expense of everyone, they indulge in what they call inclusivity, with quotas and everything else, and that's just you can see with the pigeon news.
The more I think about it, the worse it gets.
Yeah.
Yes,
Exactly.
But it's official, bbc.com/pigeon, and you can get all the news in this, which can be actually very helpful sometimes when you're feeling down and depressed, and you think that it's hurtful that all of these global leaders who are clearly incompetent across the board are being taken seriously. But then you read the Pigeon article about what they've screwed up lately, and I find a lot of levity in that. Meanwhile, greetings, your boy Pat. Your boy Pat is also a streamer, and you can find their work. I would encourage my boy Pat towards the end of the show, which we're getting there, but we're not quite there, to link to their work at that time. I'll inform you all, but we've got a few more things to get through at present. Actually, we've got a lot more than could possibly fit in, so I'm just trying to decide when I should do the raffle for a copy of Dead by Daylight via Steam, the game distribution platform.
No, I'm
Just give us
enjoying
nothing.
watching the British Empire try to not be racist and just loop right back around to being racist. They just made a complete circle.
That's what
Congratulations.
happens when you see all the woke stuff. They end up,
yes.
yeah,
This,
they're coming out to despise.
well, I enjoy mocking the Kingdom of Ark, as anyone does, but I would note that this particular effort to be so not racist, you cycle around to being ridiculously racist, is basically a global phenomenon, with almost everything called anti-racist, where To combat racism, they make skin color the most important defining detail of absolutely anyone.
The only good thing I can say is at least people aren't keeping like folks' body parts as kitsch anymore. Oh wait, yes they are.
There's also the thing called colorblind, but these people hate people that are so-called colorblind when it comes to skin color. They think it's the most racist of all, but it's the least racist thing ever.
They've made the argument that if you are not racist, then you're actually racist, because the most important thing about anyone is in fact their skin color, which of course defines whether they are a good person or inevitably a bad person, because of everything else in the world.
Stupid friggin' bullshit.
Oh
Pretty
no,
much,
to
pretty much.
them it's all about the snowflake points. And certain
Twitter points.
certain skin tones gets more snowflake points than any others.
We will need to restart this call in just a moment, quite possibly, but before we do,
Yes.
who would like to put in for a copy of Dead by Daylight via Steam?
I already have it, so.
I would never play it. It's
I
too
have
scary.
it. Don't like it.
I'm a coward.
Don't play Resident Evil then.
I want to be part of the horror movie.
Why do you think I am a coward?
No, I want to be part of the horror movie. I'm not white. I'm going to die first.
So my dad had one of those original PlayStation demo game ROMs that you could buy at any game store.
I remember those, yeah.
And one of them was Resident Evil, and I couldn't read at the time. And I thought I was picking the ball game that I really like to play. That was like a puzzle with a ball where you had to like, figure out how to collect all the coins. But I chose Resident Evil instead.
Oopsie.
Oops.
Fair enough. Chat, does anyone want to enter a raffle for Dead by Daylight? I think just about everyone who wants the game might have already had it by now. I was afraid this could happen. I knew it was a risk. If, even one person hypothetically wanted to compete for it, I could compete against them, see who actually... No, actually, in that point, I would just press the button and see... Go through the motions as was previous. No one? No one?
Doesn't look it.
No, it's not looking at, and time is ticking away. Well...
Oh well.
I was passing the time for people to jump at the game codes. I appreciate the effort, Payment Hand. No one who doesn't... it's amazing that Exodus has any faith in me to dispense with their games, because... Okay, fine, you know what? That's fine. You don't have to enter into the... I'm entering the competition for Dead by Daylight. Here's how we're going to determine whether or not I get it. I joined in the number 51. If someone else had competed and they got a higher number than 51, they would have won it from me. And, since there's no one else, I win.
Doesn't look like there is.
Take that.
Rigged. It's rigged.
Okay, well, further explaining, there will be 2 more games raffled off in the next 2 open my article aids. The Dungeon of the Endless, also via Steam Key, and Red Faction Armageddon, which I will definitely compete for myself. But we've gone through the motions, and thank you, Exodus, again, for your generous donation of these games to be raffled or just claimed by me. Which, to be fair, they did say I had that option to begin with, so I feel like I've met at least the spirit of the request.
Well, you gave them one option.
Dead by Daylight, yay! Meanwhile, if you know anyone who wants in Dungeon of the Endless or Red Faction Armageddon, please let them know that that will be given away in upcoming games. In other news, there are high hopes that side quests will resume next Friday. No one's certain yet. And Sunday, I will be, of course, carry on with the, I should probably just bring up the promotional frames. Director of Arketer is Courting Burnout, wherein I will do something on Twitch for an extended period of time. In particular, I plan on showing off all the art that will soon be available on the incoming new merch store. So if you want to see some incredibly bizarre art that may or may not cause eye bleed, that you could hypothetically get on a mug, or a shirt, or a shower curtain, just, we can make it happen. I don't necessarily recommend it, but it's happened before, surprisingly. Then that will be a good Twitch thing to watch for examples of the art that will be available. And furthermore, I'll be prone to listening to people's requests for art. After that, I would expect next to be live on the next stress test. Maybe. Actually, I'm not sure about that.
Depends if Steam makes it.
Well, I'll be there. Now, at this point, I would like to encourage everyone, be it Thorn Midnight, anyone else who has any projects they would like to pitch, especially if you have a link, put it in the chat. If you are so inclined, I highly recommend the work of Thorn Midnight. Your boy Pat, who, I don't know if he remembers, you should put something there. And if Sixer wants to link if you want to see your channel out, feel free. This is the time.
I haven't really been doing much, but thank you.
Oh, okay. This is a general open invite for anyone who shows up. It's my effort to shout out and help encourage people to promote themselves because I'm bad at this. But I'm trying to improve. Really bad at this. I don't do promotion very well. I assume it's a lifelong habit of being cagey and reclusive, so... Can we get it on one of those inflatable pillows you use for hemorrhoids? You know what, Lippy? I don't know if the new merch store will offer hemorrhoid pillows, but most of these stores offer so many things that I wouldn't have thought would be available. I know, Lippy, that you'll be able to get whatever art you want on a pillow, but it's not necessarily an inflatable hemorrhoid pillow. So, hey. I'm afraid the call's about to end, which will kick everyone out. I'd like to thank Thorn Midnight for joining us. Remember, this is an open mic call, and you in particular are welcome to show up anytime you damn well like. As all the rest of the guests here. And if you have stuff that you'd like to invite people to watch, again, just, you all have wrenches and have been given express permission, so, you know. I'm giving you the option. I'm not going to put links in there myself. I'm not that organized. I barely remember my own links.
Take care, everyone.
See ya.
Oh yes, well here's the awkward part. I've mistimed this entirely and there are like 5 minutes left, so
Oh, okay.
I mean, this call might end any moment because Google hates me, but I'm going to be stuck here for another 5 minutes because I don't like ending anything other than on the minute. Because I have no proper excuse for it. It's part of the routine thing. Let's talk about the Book of Boba Fett was really dumb. I want to say this. Really resent the Book of Boba Fett. Man, that was dumb. For one, I'm not going to go into detail here. There'd be a lot of people who have a lot to complain about that show. But I swear they've got a military liaison that has been on the writing staff or on the set even, making sure that any sort of military conflict only presents the protagonist doing things that would assuredly and guaranteed get every last one of them killed in the stupidest way possible. I can only presume they're doing this because they're terrified they might train a rebel how not to die by accident. And there's at least one idiot there who says, you know what this scene needs? Someone spinning around like a dog looking to sit down before taking a shot. And finally,
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I'm doing this without spoilers. This is about enough. The call's about insult to keep it quick for your sake. Finally, they play an awful lot of the theme song at the end of the season finale, and here's a spoiler for you. The only lyrics they actually have for it is bum 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 fat bum 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 bum.
Goodbye.
I just was, and they so desperately wanted the Mandalorian. They so desperately wanted to be. It's evidently clear. Thank you to my guests for showing up and being very tolerant in this awkward moment where they got kicked out 3 minutes early. I would have actually started a new call to have them be talking for these final 3 minutes, but for the fact it's only 3 minutes now, so now I feel like it'd be wasted to load it all up again. Let's see, like a discount Morpheus. Yeah, only Channel on Fat can do a spin shoot with John Woodruff. Maybe, but egads, none of this made any sense. And look, I just want to stress it wasn't malicious. I warned. Well done, Havenhand. Oh, we haven't fun yet. You should visit Bubba T. Fett, my train of sci-fi bubble shows 4 locations in Downtown Merle's Inlet, South Carolina. Look, if that's true, enjoy it. I wish you well with your business operations, and I guarantee you, such makes more sense than the series itself. Oh, talk about Faz. Well, if you weren't aware, yesterday, and roughly the time slot that side quest have had, I enjoyed a very novel stream on Chat and Mort's channel where we taunted ghosts and died horribly to them. And I want to stress once again, Libby, that ghosts in Phasmophobia, they're not the underdogs. Anyone cheering for them is absolutely supporting ghost fascism. Or, well, I don't mean as well. I'm pretty sure the person that, again, the creator of the mission, whoever owns Ghost Hunting Inc., I'm pretty sure they're the ghosts themselves, and they're just feeding adventure-seeking lunatics to ghosts, probably some sort of dark bargain. And, well, supposedly investigators have a measured sanity that starts at 100%, but again, as said in that stream, no one who is at 100% sanity to start with would be taking a job to a murder mansion to taunt a ghost to nearly killing them for a cash reward of hot dog money. Just no. The last stream in particular was fun because I played it in VR, and that is just absurd. Okay, well, until next time, so long as progress continues, success is inevitable.